Take your work seriously, but your life unseriously. That will be the title for today's video. I feel like I want to talk about this. I feel called to speak about this. A lot of that has to do with a book I'm reading right now called The Art of War. It's called The War of Art. There's actually another book called The Art of War. This one is called The War of Art. And one of the key points that he emphasizes is how it's super important to take your work seriously. Take your creativity seriously. Take your art seriously. Take anything you're building seriously. It's your creation, and you should be really just wanting to build something great and be someone great, and your work really should be an extension of you, of your soul, of your gifts, of your whatever it may be. So take it seriously. But the part that I added onto this is how you gotta take your life unseriously. Because when I heard that of taking your work seriously, I thought of this notion of people who take things too seriously. And usually I find that the idea of, taking something serious almost has a negative connotation to it. But I like to think of it more as I'm taking my work seriously in the sense of I'm just understanding that this is important to me and I'm putting myself before others. I think another way of saying it is prioritizing it. Prioritize your work. Make it feel important because it is important. Don't undermine what you're building and what you're creating and what you're putting out into this world, because it does matter. It does matter to you, and it does matter to other people who see the vision, who want to be a part of the vision. But yet, on the contrast, take your life unseriously. At the end of the day, your work isn't your life, and your life isn't your work. They're two separate things. Your work ties into your life, sure, but your work isn't your life. Your life is something else. Your life is other things to it. Your hobbies, your relationships, your health, etc. Of course, you still want to take your health seriously, but you get what I'm saying. It's your life encompasses a lot more than just your work. And I think that's why you shouldn't take your life too seriously. Just let it flow, right? Don't be that person. Don't be that guy or girl who just takes things so seriously. And I think this is why you have to know how to detach from your work and not be so involved in it. Even though if you're an artist or whatever you're doing, you really feel like it is a part of you, and it is a part of you. I think the more you learn how to just just detach from it. And I think that's something that I really had a hard time with, a struggle with, you could say, of just being so caught up with my work and whenever people would criticize it or do something that wouldn't align with me in terms of the work, I would almost treat it as if it's a personal attack to me, to my ego. And it's very hard to not identify with your work from an egotistical perspective, from just a point of view of your ego. But I think the more you learn to just let your work be its own thing, the more you get the easier it gets, in my opinion. The easier it gets to just build something and create something, because I just feel we're all so emotionally invested into whatever we're doing. And it's probably not psychological, but it's almost ingrained in our biology to want to always constantly get other people's approval, because that signals to our primal brains that we're getting that validation of feeling a part of the tribe. And if we don't get that validation, then we feel we're on our own and we're in survival mode, and then our nervous system feels that. But the more we're comfortable with just being in our own skin and somehow, some way, just working on this idea of I don't need people's validation. Yes, I do still need this idea of a sense of belonging and a tribal mindset, because that will always be a part of us. We can't escape that. But I just feel we always want to be a part of something, and it's super hard to just go on your own path and then find people who follow you, and all of this is really me talking out of experience, because I was that person that was probably taking my work seriously. And the issue was that, not that it was a problem to take my work seriously, but it just trickled into my life too much. to the point where I probably was taking my life too seriously. Because that's kind of like the double-edged sword when it comes down to like you're pursuing work that you're passionate about, that you love, is that you think it's you. You think this is me, and if people don't like my work, they don't like me, but it's totally different. It's totally different. And you're almost living in an illusion if you think that way. That's almost like an amateuristic mindset. That's what the book talks about. There's amateurs and there's professionals. And you're a complete amateur to think that way. To think that, oh, well, you know, if they don't like my work, they don't like me, or, you know, they're criticizing this or they're criticizing me. This applies to anything. This applies to the entrepreneur building the next Facebook, AI Facebook, or some AI startup, or, you know, the painter painting some sort of, you know, painting on some sort of canvas and creating something, the designer, the builder, I don't really know, the architect, like anybody creating something, this is what you face. And the more you're able to just like dive into the deep end and detach, the better it feels. Like it feels like you're just like, here's a great analogy. It's like there's the work, and there's the other person. You are not your work. Just like you're not your thoughts. It's the same idea. We get caught up in these illusions in life. Like, you know, you're not your thoughts, you're not your work. Same kind of idea. The more we're able to see the work like something else, almost like we see inspiration as something else, ideas as something else, the more we're able to just like step away from it, not objectify it, and just let it do its thing. And, you know, I think that comes with like talking about it less and just like doing your thing and not thinking so much of how did I get this idea in the first place, or, you know, is this even my work? Is this my best work? Letting it do its thing and playing its course. And then you almost see it as like you're giving birth to this idea, to this creation. Yeah, you take credit for it, but at the same time you realize there's something deeper, something greater, something to do with the divine, with something like that we're not able to fully comprehend and actually speak about, but you feel it. The author Stephen Pressfield calls it the muse, right? Like the angels, like some sort of inspiration from out there. Whatever you want to call it and label it, that's entirely up to you. But the more you're able to just see it like that, the more you're able to just not take it so personal. And I think that's the bottom line, to not take it so personal. That's how you're actually able to take your work seriously and your life unseriously. Because ideally speaking, like, you want to be able to obviously do what you love, do what you're passionate about, something that's going to be very nourishing for your soul, for your spirit. And if you're doing that, you get sucked into this trap of like, okay, well, my work is my life. But like I said, the more you're able to detach, and maybe that takes experience, like what I've gone through now, of like understanding that was sort of what I had to go through to see things for now how they are, and more of a bird's eye view, you could say. And then it gets way easier. Then it's just like you can laugh at yourself, you know? Like they say actually the best kind of artists and creators are the ones that can laugh at themselves. And I know it's very counterintuitive to this idea of taking it seriously, but again, everything in life, there's a yin and yang. There's like a dichotomy, a contrast, what's the word again? I can't think of the word. The duality, I should say. Duality, that's the word. There's always duality in life, right? And that duality comes with like taking your work seriously and really giving it your all, and sacrificing things along the way to like put your purpose above everything. But then that's it. You chill out. And you're almost then taking it not seriously, I guess you could say, just like letting it do its thing, and then seeing how people respond and react to it and interpret it and how it makes them feel. All these different things. But yeah, that's kind of what I want to touch on for this video. And I guess the main takeaway out of this video, Of course, it would be, like I said, the title, taking your work seriously and your life unseriously. But obviously it's not as black and white as it is. And I think this analogy, it's very analogous to also other areas of your life, like your health. I'm actually considering labeling this title as Take Your Health Seriously and Your Life Unseriously, but I want to touch more onto the creativity aspect of things and, building things and all that fun stuff. But health is just as important, obviously, in terms of taking it seriously. Like, you want to be that person that you take your health seriously. Like, you're known as a guy who's like so focused on his health and wants to like build a great body, build a great mind, and just really values putting themselves first from a health perspective. But here's the kicker. They're also the person that could just have a lot of fun. They could dance to the morning, they could laugh, they could, they're always down for something, they're always up for something, they always say yes to things, but again, no to things that don't align with their health. That's the key thing. When you have your health in check, when you have your work in check, like, these are priorities. This is why you take it seriously, because this is what matters to me. Health, my work, etc. Spending time with loved ones, whatever. But once those pillars are met, you need to have room for spontaneity. This will be a topic for another video about how you have to be disciplined but also spontaneous. It's a very interesting contrast, but I'll explain that in a future video. But overall, that's really what it comes down to. It's like, take these things in your life seriously, the things that you value, and you can only answer that yourself, I can't. But once that is already established of like, okay, my health, freedom, family, fitness, whatever it may be, okay, how will I be able to fit that in my day? Once those are met, there has to be room for other things. You have to be able to thrive in some flow state of whatever comes your way. But you can't do that if you're constantly shackled down by the things that you take so seriously. Then your whole day is serious because you're just doing things that are so important to you, which has its I guess place to some degree in the short term, but in the macro and in the long term, it's not how you could live. It's not how I want to live, and most people probably not the ideal kind of life, in my opinion. Again, it's just my opinion. So anyways, that's a wrap for this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.